The Secret, a treasure hunt by Byron Priest. Verse 2, Image 8, the Charleston cask. We begin our journey in White Point Garden. We have been given a short verse and a painting to use in our hunt for a buried cask.
In line 5 of the verse, we are told to stand and listen to the birds. White Point Garden is a night heron rookery, and during certain times of the year, birds are abundant and can be heard from anywhere in the park. Near the center point of the park, there is a bandstand. If we stand on the bandstand, we can certainly hear the birds. And we will also be fulfilling the part of line 5 that instructs us to stand. Line 6 of the verse instructs us to hear the cool, clear song of water. To the north of the bandstand is the Hunley Monument, a water feature that can be heard from the bandstand. In line 8 through 13 we are asked to hearken to the words, "Freedom at the birth of a century," or May 1913. Edwin and Edwina named after him. Or on the 8th a scene where law defended. A couple of these lines correlate with monuments that surrounded the bandstand during the time The Secret was written, such as the main capstan, and the Steed Bonnet Monument. Others correlate with historic figures from the Charleston area. We must now decode line 14. Between two arms extended. While standing on the bandstand, with the Hunley Monument on our right side, we can look in the southwest direction. The Little Dancer. A fountain in the shape of a small girl with her arms extended. Looking between the extended arms of the Little Dancer, we must now find the bar that binds, as mentioned in line 15. Unfortunately, there is no bar that binds between the fountain and the Ashley River. To find the bar that binds, we must go farther, but first we need to go back to the first 3 lines. Of all the romance retold, men of tales and tunes cruel and bold, these 3 lines bear a striking resemblance to the opening verse of Treasure Island. A novel about a young man that acquires a treasure map and sets out on an adventure to find the treasure. Like the young man in the novel, we have been given a map. And now we must follow the map to the treasure. Unfortunately, the map we have been given does not have our starting point on it. Instead, Byron has pointed us in the direction we need to travel in order to find the location where we can utilize the map. The Intracoastal Waterway. As we start our trek down the Intracoastal Waterway, we can be assured that we are on the right path as we pass by the place referenced in lines 4 and 5. Seen here by eyes of old Wide Awake Plantation. Further along we come upon the first location on our treasure map. Horse Island. Horse Island is represented in the painting by the hooved feet of the fairy and the blue mist resembling a horse below her feet. Now that we have found a key feature of the map, we need to know how to position the map in order to fully understand the rest of it. The pendant in the painting has a star that represents the North Star. When the painting is rotated until the star is pointed north, the map is correctly oriented and we can now see that there is a map of Edisto Island hidden in the painting. One of the key features is Botany Bay Beach, represented by the stem of the daisy. The study of plants is known as botany, so it's only fitting that a flower be used to represent Botany Bay. Historic Highway 174 is represented by the branch running behind the ferry, and Botany Bay Road is represented by the string draped over the branch. South Edisto River is represented in the painting by the shape on the lion's forehead. Now that we have found the island represented by our map, we must retrieve the treasure. The treasure is marked with an X, just like the one in Treasure Island. However, our X places us knee-deep in a marsh where there is surely no cask buried. If we look back at the novel Treasure Island, we will see that the X is far too large to be a guide. It is more of a general location. We need a pointer to find the exact location. While searching the general area of the X, we find the object referenced in line 15. The bar that binds. Alexander Bache lived from 1806 to 1867 and was a surveyor known for his invention of the bar of invariable length. which he used to survey a straight line approximately 6 2/3 of a mile long across the island of Edisto. The beach line is marked at each end by monuments. One in Edisto State Park, and the other in Botany Bay. Thanks to Alexander Bache, we now have a baseline of known distance that will allow us to use the method of triangulation surveying to map the exact location of the X. Looking back at our treasure map, we can see that it actually has a map inside of a map. Focusing on the pendant once again, we can see the tips of the clock hands are a lighter color than the rest of the clock hands. The tips of the hands represent the two Bache monuments. We can draw a line between the two to create a triangle. And since we know the length of the Bache line, we can determine the remaining lengths and angles of the triangle.
Due to the small size and difficult measuring of the pendant, some angles and measurements may be slightly inaccurate, but they are close enough to get us to the next step.
The triangle must now be transferred to a modern-day map of Edisto Island using the Bache Monument as the baseline.
With our first triangle transferred to the map, we need to go back to the painting and find the real distance and direction to the X.
In order to do this, we must go back to the pendant in the painting. More specifically, the teeth. Notice there are 6 triangle-shaped teeth on top and 6 on the bottom. Keeping with the theme of triangulation survey, we need to plot a chain of 12 triangles on the map. We will do this using a double chain of triangles. Using the baseline we have drawn between the western Bache monument and the point we projected in the water, we can start plotting equilateral triangles. Once we have all 12 triangles plotted on the map, it greatly resembles the mouth on the pendant. At the end of our chain of triangles is Beaufort, South Carolina. Much like the Charleston Peninsula, Beaufort has numerous historic buildings and was home to several historic figures. One of the most important historic figures to call Beaufort home was Robert Smalls. On May 13, 1862, Robert Smalls commandeered the Confederate ship the Planter and sailed it out of the Charleston harbor, where it was turned over to the Union. Afterwards, Smalls went on to lead a very productive life and is known for a long list of accomplishments. When Smalls passed away on February 23, 1915, he was laid to rest in Beaufort at Tabernacle Baptist Church. A bronze bust of Smalls was placed near the church to commemorate his extraordinary life. As we stand in Beaufort, south of the Bache line, or below the bar that binds, facing the bust of Robert Smalls, we can move on to line 16. Beside the long palm's shadow, notice over the left shoulder of Smalls there is a palm tree. This palm tree is very important, but it is not the one to cast our shadow. It will, however, help us find the palm tree that does. Referring back to the pendant once again, we see 3 lines. A red one, a white or yellow one, and a green or blue one. These represent the 3 color filters that must be placed on the image of the pendant to reveal hidden information. Using the filters, we find the shape of a partial triangle, with what appears to be a palm tree in the corner. We also find the number 38 and the number 48. The hidden partial angle represents the covered walkway with the palm tree in the corner. That can be seen behind the bust. The numbers 38 and 48 are to be used in completing a triangle that points directly to the cask location. Line A is 30 feet from the corner of the building to the palm tree. If we use 38 feet as a measurement for line B, and 48 feet as a measurement for line C, then we complete the triangle, with the uppermost corner of the triangle pointing directly to another palm tree. This is the palm that casts the shadow we are looking for. And in mid-April at 4 o'clock, which is the time and date suggested by the painting, the shadow falls much like the one in this picture. According to a USDA soil survey, the soil in this area is Wando, fine sand. This would correlate with line 17 of the verse. Embedded in the sand, standing in this location, you are surrounded by white houses, which would lead us to line 19. White House close at hand. There are also many dig site indicators that can be seen from this location. The spires on the roof of the church resemble the pair in the painting. A nearby brick feature resembles the eyes on the mask. The backside of the Robert Smalls bust resembles parts of the fairy wings. The most important of these indicators is the 2 palm trees directly in front of you while standing at the dig site. The daisy in the painting is actually covering the 2 palm trees. If you look closely, you can see the bent palm tree, leaning to the right of the daisy stem. This is a simplified explanation of a very complex puzzle. But I believe the cask is buried within this red area. An area, no more than 2 feet wide by 4 feet long.